Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. Today we're going to be taking a look at another weapon from our favourite controversial Void Trader. So is he still Control, or has he redeemed himself to be allowed his real name back when we review the Prisma Grakata? Now the Grakata is one of those weapons that has been in Warframe for a long time and has become synonymous with the Grineer. And finally we get an upgraded version, the Prisma Grakata, which can currently be picked up from the Orcus Relay on Pluto for 610 ducats and 100,000 credits. Now it's a low damage, high crit weapon, much like its predecessor, with a base damage of just 11, with 4.4 coming as impact, 3.7 as puncture and 2.9 as slash, making it one of the lowest damaging weapons per shot in the game. Now as I've said before, that is made up for with a great 25% critical chance. And this is where the Prisma starts to shine over the base Grakata, with the fact that the weapon is very crit heavy. To do its damage, the damage multiplier is pretty important. The original Grakata has 200% damage multiplier, which the Prisma gets buffed up to 250%, which is definitely a nice upgrade. Now the Prisma Grakata also comes with the same 20% status that the standard Grakata does, meaning that a whole array of different builds become available, making this weapon extremely versatile. The Prisma does actually get some extremely decent quality of life upgrades over the normal Grakata as well. The reload speed has dropped from 2.4 seconds to 2 seconds, the magazine size has doubled to 120, and the ammunition reserve increased from 750 rounds to a massive 1,000 rounds, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, even the fire rate has been increased slightly from 20 rounds per second to 21.7, which is another of those upgrades which is often missed but definitely much appreciated. Now this is not to say that the Prisma Grakata does not have downsides, and they are quite simply all of those that the standard Grakata suffers. The weapon has extremely high initial recoil, and when burst firing that can become problematic, since it does settle down after that initial recoil, but it can be difficult to control against single enemies, or as I say, when trying to preserve ammo and burst fire it. That said, the initial recoil is pretty predictable, so it is reasonably easy to counter. It's not fantastically easy, but it is reasonably easy. But it is definitely something that needs to be got used to and does not make the weapon easy to use immediately. In addition to that, ignoring the fact that right now impact is probably the worst damage type in the game, the low base damage means that the weapon really struggles when the critical mods are not on the weapon, to the extent where in my Spy 2.0 missions the Prisma Grakata couldn't even kill the cameras in a single shot and would set off all the alarms. Now this can make the initial few levels of levelling problematic and quite frustrating, but it's one of those that picks up very quickly as soon as the mods go on. But to start with, it can be a bit rough. Okay, so let's start by modding the Prisma Grakata. Now it doesn't come with any polarities as standard, however we're going to add 4 forma to this, which is going to be pretty simple, 4 Vs. Now I've got 2 builds pretty much for the Prisma Grakata. I've got one that is a more serious, more damage focused one, and one that is just for quite a bit of fun, to be honest. So the more damage focused one, we've got Serration, we've got Split Chamber, we've got Heavy Caliber, Point Strike and Vital Sense. And then we've gone for the 3 dual stats. We've got nearly 80% status, which means this just absolutely pumps out those status procs, which is going to be high voltage and thermite rounds for radiation and malignant force for toxin against the Grineer. We're also going to go with high voltage malignant force thermite rounds for the void, and if we swap things around a little bit more, we can go for high voltage rime rounds and malignant force for the magnetic and toxic against the corpus. And then once again, if we switch things around a bit more, we've got viral, which is rime rounds and malignant force, and thermite rounds, which is going to be against the sort of corrosive projection void build, and this will do pretty fantastically well against that. Now all of those elemental combos are going to carry over into this build. However, for this build we've actually got a little bit different. Instead of heavy caliber, we've gone with speed trigger, just because it is pretty amusing. And we've got rifle ammo mutation on there, both of which, well, if you're going with speed trigger, you're going to need mutation. Now, a slight change to this build would be is if you were going to use shred instead of speed trigger, because then you get the punch through as well, but you're still probably going to use the ammo mutation, especially on those longer run missions. A lot of the time people use shred for things like void defense, because things tend to come at you sort of one at a time, sort of a wave at a time, so the punch through is absolutely fantastic for that. But you will need that ammo mutation for it. And this is pretty much just my I'm gonna have a laugh build, and it absolutely does that. I mean, you can see it puts the fire rate up to 34.6, which is serious fun. If you're just messing around, this build is absolutely fantastic. If you want the more heavily damage, sort of a heavier damage build, then I would go with the heavy caliber build. But either build's fine, really. So do I think it's worth the time, effort, and ducats invested into maxing this thing? And the answer to that is pretty unsurprising. Yes, it's absolutely worth maxing it. In fact, drop everything and go buy it now. Like, right away. It's only available until the Void Trader goes away this weekend, and we don't know when it's going to come up again, and you don't want to be that guy that was too slow and missed out. The original Grakata is a weapon I've used a ton. It's a bunch of fun, and it's surprisingly way more effective than a lot of people give it credit for. Quite often I see in lobbies lol Grakata, and come out of the group with double the damage, double the kills of the entire group using just the weapon alone. It's one of those that if you look at the paper stats, that measly 11 base damage, you will be forgiven for writing it off as mastery fodder or crap or whatever. But it's absolutely none of those things, and the Prisma takes some of the failings of the normal Grakata and it works on them, it upgrades them. The standard Grakata fire rate was not something that could realistically be taken advantage of because of the lower than average reload speed. The magazine size of 60 meant that you were just reloading far too often. But with double magazine size and the slightly increased rate of fire to begin with, builds including fire rate mods like Shred and Speed Trigger have actually become seriously viable. And I have to be honest, Speed Trigger on this might not be the best damage, and it might not be good for your ammo economy, and obviously it's going to absolutely require ammo mutation, but it is so epic to hear. So epic, so much theatre. This weapon, no matter how you mod it, whether for maximum damage or whether going for amusing builds, is absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun to use, and I really cannot say how much I like the Grakata, and I've always liked the Grakata. And for it to get a decent boost like this, my clan mates will tell you, I've been salivating over this ever since it was leaked into the codex. Every single time I went to the Void Trader expecting the Prisma Grakata, only to come away sad and a little bit salty. Until this beautiful moment today, waiting for, waiting there, ready for him to appear. And he appeared with this. Probably my new primary weapon, at least for the time being. Baro can drop his control title, at least for now. As MGL Blaze, a fellow content creator, put it, for now, he is Baro Tears of Joy. As always guys, many thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton, and I shall see you in the next episode.